figure this out. Post successful. Discard that. And then let me double check that I have people's names correctly, because you mentioned that I should.
Yeah, just a couple. Like for me, it's going to be mainly John as the primary contact. But I'm going to also mention like Zach for our marketing efforts. Yeah, we know the mic's on.
Are we hot? Cool.
Well,
that we are we hot on stream, or are we hot on
we're hot on mic.
Hot on mic? Okay.
There we go.
Cool.
Yeah, now we're hot on stream.
Okay, sounds
Cool.
good.
So let me introduce myself. I'm Mike Aguilar, also known as Moog. I'm the Director of Esports and Co-Curricular Innovation for OU. And with me I have...
Hi, my name is Daniel Kilo. I am the president of Longhorn Gaming over at University of Texas at Austin.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for taking some time. And we had obviously a wonderful window. It's nice to actually be ahead of schedule versus some of the previous years. And for everyone that's just joining us for this showcase and exhibition, this is the third annual Red River Clash between the University of Oklahoma and Longhorn Gaming at UT Austin. And so what we wanted to do is first help bring back the energy before we get into the last grudge match of the day in Valorant, and really kind of give a little bit of the state of the org, state of the union, state of the university with our programs. And I'm going to let you kick it off first, and then we'll come back with OU.
Yeah, sure. So things we got in LG coming down the pipeline. We've got our Red River Clash this weekend, obviously. We're getting our monthly events going for the rest of the summer, or the rest of the semester. It's not summer anymore. It's October. What am I talking about? For the rest of the semester, we got our October LAN in the WCP Ballroom next Saturday. If you are on UT campus and would like to stop by, we've got our friends over at UConnect hooking us up with some MSI computers to go ahead and get some games going. That'll be next, or sorry, did I say next Saturday? Next Friday, all day. I want to say from like 12 to 10. That's our first monthly LAN of the rest of this fall semester. Additionally, we've got World's Watch parties. We've got more charity streams coming down the pipeline. We got weeklies from all of our competitive communities. We have grown to over 20 different competitive and casual organizations, general game communities within UT, which is great to see. Our largest actually is now Longhorn Smash, with I think about 1,000 members. Yeah, I want to say Longhorn Smash by themselves is almost 1,000 members, which is kind of insane to see. Additionally, we do have up there Longhorn League of Legends and LG Valorant, which Valorant coming up next. Excited to see what they have in store.
Right. Well, awesome. Thanks for that. What about just out of curiosity, before I dive into the OU world, how's the state of the union when it comes to administrative buy-in at UT?
Yeah. So so as of last April, this is new development from last year's Red River Clash. We have been officially sponsored as a sponsored student organization through University Unions, which is a division of student affairs at UT. It was really important for us to get sponsored through student affairs as opposed to maybe something like one specific college, because a lot of the SSOs at UT are sponsored by engineering, they're sponsored by fine arts, which, we had clear pathways to. We've previously had advisors in both of those colleges, but we really didn't want to shut out or make students feel unwelcome because they're not a member of that major, that program.
Right. No,
so
great.
Yeah. James Buckley and everybody over at Unions has been super helpful, super involved in at least keeping me involved, especially as a student here. Maybe I should clarify, I'm a third-year computer science major. So it's definitely really important for me to see that sort of student connection. So it's not just kind of, okay, now we're sponsored and university's taking it away when the insight that we've had from students at a lot of these meetings have been really insightful and really impactful from what I've seen recently. So.
No, that's excellent. Thank you. No, that's so important. I always have a big emphasis on the community aspect, aka the student voice. And so now, OU's development is now pushing its 5th year since its R&D now this November, and we're housed inside of Student Affairs as a department that now sponsors the primary org underneath it, with students making up the leadership rosters and ranks right underneath me as I'm their direct report. Yeah. And that's wonderful to hear, especially with a location like the Union being one of your biggest allies inside of Student Affairs, because it's already the central hub and the life force of the university as it is. And you obviously guys have a lot of students. I think you're pushing close to 50K, whereas OU is between 29, 31, 32K. And so that's a great place to put that. So here's the OU updates. As of today, we're now a 2,600 member organization, and now representing now for the 3rd year in a row, the largest student org on campus, with every discernible demographic that you can think of within it, which is important again for those reporting elements to administration. The biggest differentiator between our two developments, aside from the departmental thing, is we're now offering scholarships. And one thing to note though is I don't for those audiences that are definitely more about the OU versus UT kind of energies right now, these types of panels are really designed to say, here's how we compare, not as a means of competition, but how to help each other. So that money for the scholarships didn't come from OU. That money from scholarships came through alumni portals and sponsors that we helped foster good relationships and raise that funding. And that's an important note, because that means that, there are obviously there are obviously students that want to go further. And our universities, because of the distinction in their classifications, are not agile. We have a lot of politics. We have a very old heritage, and a lot of licensing problems and concerns, just because our presidents of our universities can't fully keep in tabs everything across all 4 corners of our landscapes. And so it's harder to move it. It's not as agile. And that's also why we don't see as many Power 5 Division I universities at the fully supported level. And I still wouldn't classify OU at that level quite yet. Hopefully that's 2022 when we and I see on stream, my camera looks wonderful. So I'm going to kill that and then bring it back, and hopefully that fixes it. But either way, so we're back at 2,600 members. I'm now starting to teach curriculum inside of our College of Journalism. In fact, Austin, who on our side is doing the production for our side of the events this weekend, is a student in that class, which is teaching about you doing live events through streaming platforms. So we're starting to see the first birth of curriculum on OU's campus, and these will be things that will naturally, organically happen as any university starts to buy more into it. And we're seeing it plenty in the D2s, D3s, private schools, the smaller schools that are just more agile. But my favorite things this year is we rebranded OU Esports Club, the main gaming club hub of the university, to the OU Gaming Club. And because of that, first we did that initially because we needed to push the narrative forward to get to this juncture. And now that we have the department, renaming the org back to that more inclusive naming has definitely paid off. So for us, our growth rate since COVID hit we're at 1,400 members, 1,600 members back in March 2020, now to 2,600 members. That's pretty explosive growth and quite a bit more diversity within its ranks. So those are some really good updates. I mean, that's great. The biggest thing is I tell people, like, OU Texas is a wonderful time for us to obviously, put it up front and let it just be out there, and let some of those wonderful rivalries, especially when it's good sportsmanlike conduct, just happen. You win. It's the representation from UT, it's the representation from OU, and whoever wins. And that's that. But the biggest thing is that it's wonderful to see this. This is the first time that the presidency role that you represent and me as the director role or advisor role really has been hands off. And so letting our leadership, letting our students and our members within the ranks bring this event back to life for the 3rd annual is also kind of a testament of how the evolution of maturity have we been. That's a big deal, because we know how much, we don't necessarily know how much, but we know that things like the AT&T Red River Showdown makes money. And most people in this space obviously still think esports is exclusively about really good gameplay. Yeah. But it's actually an entertainment industry. You have to have those production. You have to have that higher level of elevation for showcasing and letting your teams even have fans for them, so that they can draw in sponsorships. I mean, the goal with honestly events like what we're doing now is that 2-3 years, hopefully sooner than that we can go to sponsors and say, hey, do you want access or the title sponsor of the Red River Clash series? And, at that point, whether that be LG's logos or UT's logos or OU's logos, being in the mix, it's the most formal representation from both universities in that topic. That will draw sponsorships. That will draw opportunities for us to turn this into an opportunity to fuel our departments, and create those further scholarship opportunities, or in the first place scholarship opportunities, or funding for jobs and funding for student employees and things like that. And so that's kind of the bigger vision of what Red River Clash is about, as well as our own Bedlam series with Oklahoma State, and really kind of helping students realize that this back end portion, that's kind of like the not fun part for a lot of people, is what actually makes this enjoyable for everyone else. That
Definitely.
we'll bring in those alumni, we'll bring in those sponsors, we'll bring in those donors, and then on top of the support of the industry. And you mentioned UConnect, who also helps us a lot with, props to Dylan Liu if you're watching this, good ally of both of ours. And so that's it's great to connect those dots and then share those resources, and let the grudge matches stay within the gameplay, while we understand the opportunity that business represents when we move it forward to elevate both of us. So that aside, let's talk about competition. I know obviously we're not the directors of our esports programs components of it. We're just oversight. We oversight that. That's a whole monster in itself.
No kidding.
But what's been the vibe inside of the organization coming out of COVID? Like how's been the inside of the community, never mind campus, just in the community?
Well, everybody will see tomorrow. Don't want to give too much away, but we do have a kind of a short hype video from our UT Call of Duty department, who they've been really vocal about. Well, first of all, maybe I should clarify, our Call of Duty team manager this year happens to also be one of the main video leads in our creative department. So he's been putting together a lot of Call of Duty related material recently that is interviewing players, getting hype gameplay, and saying, hey, we're not getting paid for all this. We're just doing this for the love of the game. And, in the future, could we get scholarships for this? Definitely. But at least for right now, we're just doing this because we love this. We're doing it because we love what we do. So at least from COVID, I want to say, I do also want to highlight, we've had some pretty explosive growth over the past few months at least. I know Discord released the hubs feature for student hubs. I don't know if that helped y'all at all.
Oh yeah, it did.
But I think we're at 3,400 members now in our main server, which, UT is a larger school than Oklahoma, so that scales proportionally. But
absolutely,
we're definitely the numbers are definitely up there. A lot of interest in gaming on campus. I will say, with regards to, I mentioned Smash Brothers earlier, League of Legends, Valorant, our League of Legends game ambassadors. So we have team managers that lead our competitive teams, and then we have game ambassadors that lead our communities and run community-focused events. Because we do feel like we need to have one point of contact for each of those, and they're more or less equivalent in what, we need that community involvement just as much as we need the esports side. So with that in mind, our League of Legends game ambassador, Elena Kung, has been super influential, not only in helping us with the esports space in the underground, which I maybe can talk about a little bit later, but then also conflict resolution inside of our communities, making sure that all of our events are running smoothly. She's been organizing. We had a 1v1 tournament over the past few days that she and Alicia Kimball, one of our events members, and one of the events director at UT Women in Gaming, have all been focused on getting run smoothly. So a lot of people getting a lot of different things sifted around in order to make sure that everything runs smoothly.
Well, that's excellent. So we have a very similar structure. So I remember sharing a lot of that insight of how we were structured with your predecessors, and it's really good to see, because as it scales up, it's nuts to see just how much programming is happening on your calendar, week by week. And I always had this mentality that I want more programming on the calendar than any one student can attend.
Yeah.
Because, some people play Animal Crossing, some people play COD. There's no crossover, there's very little cultural crossover between those two titles.
There is,
So
but
you could stack them. So you could stack events for those different audiences, and not worry about it, and not even have a distraction from each other's, audience or viewership or attendance. So props to your COD team, taking the initiative for media development. As we have a very deep roster of media developers, and literally a media outlet. But when we see those kind of projects, those are the things that definitely need to be highlighted. As we had students that created documentaries, that we call the OUXP series, and we did a 1.0 and a 2.0, and that was purely student initiative. That wasn't even me asking as the lead advisor at the time or director now. That was just, hey, let's tell these stories, and that's what we need more of. So it's good with the competition and everything. It's always good to feel proud of building a team that's going to go and wreck your foes, whoever they may be. That's always a good stuff. But the stuff that moves the needle forward with administrations is showing who's within these ranks, what they're actually doing, what they're involved in. I can imagine it, and pretty statistically across the entire nation, when it comes to esports programs, at least 40 to 60% of all of our organizations are STEM majors.
Yeah.
But the other 40% is just quite a bit, very diverse in itself. So you can look at some of your rosters and their what their areas of study are. They just don't make any sense in alignment.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most powerful things about what gaming represents as an inclusive topic, where there's not only a table for everyone to sit, but there's literally a menu that caters to everyone's palate, which is the actual welcoming and inclusion part of what we're all trying to accomplish. So, as we're coming into like the last 9 minutes of this, again, we didn't want to talk for hours and bore everyone, but that's some really good, exciting news and some really good precursor to tomorrow. And we don't talk enough. Like most of us don't have enough time. And you being a student, I have even less time. You need to be working on so many other things. But even me as a director role, it doesn't get better regardless of not being a student. So it's nice to just touch base, even if it's in a more formal environment like this for Red River. But one of the last things I wanted to do is really highlight what brings Red River to life. So we already mentioned that we were pretty hands off in regards to the oversight that we had last year, and the coordination, regardless of the frustrations. We were micromanaging a lot of things and managing a lot of things in general. And this year we kind of offloaded that. So I'm going to kick it off and really kind of just hype up some of the people that some of my students that have just been killing it this year, and go down a few of them. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this from memory, even though I told Daniel to come up with a list when we decided to do this panel, and I'm going to more than likely forget some people. So I apologize for that, but you can reach out to me and scream at me for not including you. But the first one is John Hudson, who is my director of intercollegiate esports, or my competitive director, who kind of has functioned as our event coordinator for this entirety from the OU side. And that ranged from bringing in Austin Wynn, who's currently behind the scenes right now doing scene switching and everything else on our side of the stream. And then Zachary Satz, who's been doing our social media, and putting out, planning and staging of things throughout different events. They have been the three main contacts for me in making sure that the core culture and the core energies of what we wanted to accomplish were done, and to let go of the reins of that. There's plenty of important things in our calendar year, but Red River and, for me, again, Bedlam and these types of one-off events that really allow us to kind of flex the entire strength of our organizations are really opportunities for us to really showcase that if you have a great COD team, great. If you have a great Valorant team, great. But listen to our casters, listen to our watch our production people, and understand that this stuff just doesn't just happen because we flip or snap our fingers. It takes some work. And so that's some of those things that I wanted to really highlight. I also want to throw out to Quaid and Michaela, who came in last minute because of some changes in our news and media division to help build the panels and the questions for those, and help find the panelists on both sides and bring those together. Which, again, those panels are so important because it's the one time where student faces are actually visible in the majority of what we do as programming in esports, never mind just collegiate, but in general. And we're not just an avatar in a game. We are a living, breathing creature that has different, passions, diversity and interests, different studies, and all these different things. And that story needs to be told equally as much as the narrative of gameplay that's happening in real time. So good job to the OU side of this. Let's hear about some LG's champions.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, of course, I have to thank Ahir Chatterjee, Sam Kapoor, Tyler Meffert, and Trey Agarwala. They're all my cabinet who have been running everything behind the scenes with regards to a high level. over the course of the year. And although they didn't have as much direct say in this event in particular, they've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I greatly appreciate their insight from a day-to-day perspective. With regards to Red River Clash in general, or in particular, thank you to Daniel Summerbreeze Flores and Isaac Noodleman, as well as the rest of our productions team, for helping put together graphics and ensuring streams run smoothly on the UT Longhorn Gaming channel, which, by the way, you can watch Valorant over there in about 5 minutes. Additionally, I'd like to thank Connor Archangel Simpson and his events team. Hi, if you're watching this from the Union Building right now, it's my understanding that there's a watch party in there that I'm currently not attending because I'm here. But I should be over there here in a few minutes right after this. If you are watching this and you are on campus, Union Building 2.404, I believe, it's Pierce Hall. See you there. Additionally, we have Sierra Morrissey, Brianna Baskin, and our creative team for extra graphics, posts on our social media platforms, and just in general, creating a super welcoming environment in LG. We have something called the Welcoming Committee now in our Say Hello channel, and Bria is basically, definitely leads that team. So thank you very much for that. And then finally, I wanted to thank Niku Vafai and the rest of our public relations team for ensuring that these graphics and these social media posts get published to our platforms. And, really making sure that we have a lot of initiative going forward in our public relations department. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what everybody else has in their own teams, weekly meetings, making sure that everybody's got something to do is super important. And it seems like we've been making a lot of progress. So yeah,
excellent.
Thank you, everybody.
Excellent. So to both the OU students that are bringing these types of events and these communities online, as well as our UT peers, understand that we can't hate you and you can't hate us until we're on level ground. Yeah. So don't stop, because as we continue to formalize and we continue to elevate and get buy-in of our administrations and support of our alumni and the communities that already support our universities and their long history, this has a place at these tables for equal elevation of anything else that's on campus than on our campuses. So please don't stop. Please understand that these rivalries are just that. They are absolutely rivalries, and we can get a little bit salty and petty with each other in game. But when it comes to working together to elevate the topic for the industry, to create opportunities for not only ourselves, but the generations after us of Longhorns and Sooners, that's what we represent. And that's what we will continue to represent in this space. So with that being said, good luck to the Longhorns. Sooners rep, we're going to hit you up in some Valorant here in a couple minutes. And at that point,
I think y'all need it,
I think we have some. We have some. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to get disrespectful, but I'm just saying. I think we have some redemption to bring upon you. So, all right. With that note, Austin, take us away, and let's get to Valorant.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're clear. Let me make sure my mic doesn't come back through. Nope, mic came back through.